Welcome to The Direct Line, the official podcast for OADSP. We're excited to have you here with us today, and if you have comments, suggestions, or if you want to join us in studio as a guest, reach out to me at podcast@oadsp.org.
I'm David Rustio, and today I'm speaking with Rick Willits. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Thank you, David.
How you doing today?
Oh, wonderful.
How wonderful.
Yeah. Day after Thanksgiving, coming down off a sugar high, passing out candy. Wonderful.
Yeah, about that. How much did you eat?
I have a terrible sweet tooth. Terrible.
Okay.
I think I could probably be about 10 pounds lighter if I just went and threw the ice cream out of my fridge or freezer.
I could too, but I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm not either. I feel like you got to live a little bit.
Yeah. And I think you got the holidays mixed up, but that's okay.
Oh, trick or candy, same. It's sweet tooth, right? Doesn't matter.
Well,
I can't pass a bowl of candy without grabbing, I think my go-to, Kelly and I were talking about this the other day. She's my marketing coordinator. We were at a volunteer fair, and we were passing out Twix, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and gummy bears. And I can, lollipops, gummy bears, hard candies, I can walk right by those. But when I see a Twix or a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, I don't know, it calls my name.
I need chocolate.
Yeah, I'm same. Yeah.
Chocolate is the goodest.
It is.
In my book. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Yeah, I'm 54 years old.
Spring chicken.
I am a spring chicken. My girlfriend likes to remind me that I'm 5 years older than her. So yeah, she'll be 50 in January. Paybacks. But yeah, father of three, I guess now young adults. My daughter lives in Denver. My son lives in Cincinnati, both working. And my youngest is a sophomore at Ohio State. They're still my world. They're amazing. A joy to parent and watch them mature and grow. So that seems to consume a lot of your time, just supporting them and their activities. It's definitely been an adjustment to the world of empty nesting, but going well. I fill a lot of my time. I obviously work here at We Care Arts, but I love coaching. I coach high school football. I played college football.
Okay.
And I've coached high school football since truly the day I walked off the college campus. I graduated in 1992 and found myself coaching on the football field in the fall of 1992.
Wow.
Yeah. So my career, but a winding path, but I feel like all things, I think you learn something from everything you've done. I feel like I had 4 10-year careers that have put me in this spot where I've told Katie I really truly could see myself retiring here. I was a teacher and a coach for the first part of my career. Actually, I ran a summer youth program for adults diagnosed with developmental disabilities right after college. It was the summer youth program. It was at-risk youth. It was individuals. I ran a janitorial skills training program for individuals with Down syndrome, and it was an amazing experience. Opened my eyes to just, number one, the love that an adult with Down syndrome has. They were so happy. Like I remember handing them paychecks back then, like a $40 paycheck, and they would hug me and say, "Thank you, big boss." And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I ended up teaching and coaching. And then when we started having children, my wife at the time wanted to stay home. And so I was like, wow, what the heck am I going to do? There was an individual that I had met on the board when I was at Goodwill that summer, and he was on the board of Goodwill, but he also owned a recruiting firm. So I went to talk to him about helping me find a job that made more than $30,000 a year teaching, because we had 2 kids, up to one, and one on the way. Sure. And he said, why don't you come work for me? So I was an executive recruiter and grew my career there for, I think, 10 or 11 years. Worked for a national firm called Management Recruiters International. I was in like 3 different offices. And then after that, I actually went back into the high school ranks and found development, like advancement development, raising money for the school where I taught and where I coached, and raised, I don't know, $2.2 million a year for 10 years. And then thought to myself, I think I'd like to do this in a nonprofit setting.
Sure.
And so that's how I wound up here. I had a short stint. I worked for United Rehabilitation Services. I did some grant writing, and I was on a tour here with the Kettering Leadership Academy, met Katie. This is like spring of 93. And as I walked out, I told Katie, I said, if you ever had an opening, or actually it was 92. And I said, if you ever had an opening here, I'd love to work here. And she called me, it was like a year and a half later, and said that Pat Maple, who was here till 81 years old, was retiring and was looking to fill the community engagement position. And I said, sold. And she's, I haven't even told you how little you're going to make. And I said, I don't really care. I've done okay in my career. I'm ready to give back and find some work-life balance. As long as you're okay with me continuing to coach high school football and leaving at 3:30 in the fall to go coach, I'm all yours from 8 in the morning till 3:30, and then whatever you need in the evenings to wrap up a day. But yeah, it's been amazing.
So you like sports ball?
I do. I played college football. I was fortunate enough. My guidance counselor, when I was a senior, was looking at all the places that had offered me scholarships: Butler in Indianapolis, St. Joseph's in Indiana, and I always said I was number one in my class, but I was number one in the second half of my class. So I said it took broad shoulders to lift up the top half of my class. But the guidance counselor looked at me and said, Rick, I'm so glad that you're going to go play college football at one of these schools that are offered you to play, because your athletics is going to afford you an opportunity that your athletics wouldn't be able to, or your academics wouldn't be able to.
Sure.
And I said, is that a nice way of saying that being a solid B student wasn't going to get me into some of these universities? But yeah, it was great. So I played college football for 4 years. I think it really taught me a lot about just workload management, right? Hard work, all the intangibles. When you're a college athlete, you really, I look back and I realize like how scheduled my day was and how I worked in the advancement office part-time. I ran the intramural program. I had my classes. I had football. We had training. And I obviously had a girlfriend in college. And you just look back and you're like, wow, like I sprinkled in some fun here or there. But college was a bit of a grind, but it was also the place where I met three of the guys that are still my friends to this day, and three guys that were in my wedding. And we just went to Tucson last summer for a week, nice. Just a little roommate reunion. But life is a winding trail.
And you've been winding around.
I've been winding a little bit. But like I said, I feel like I find myself in spots for these 10-year stints. So I feel like I'm home. This is one of those places where, I'm only year one into that 10-year typical stint for me. But I think when I turn 64, am I going to be Pat Maple? And am I going to work till I'm 81 doing stuff here? Or am I going to retire when I'm 65? I don't know. One of the two.
We'll be right back. Most places in the world experience some kind of winter weather. Cold, snow, ice, gray skies, you get the picture. And it's straight science that months of that has a negative impact on our outlooks and energies. But OADSP has a solution, our Beat the Winter Blues series. From January to early spring, we offer activities and happenings meant to break up the monotony of chilly, dreary winter days. From virtual dance parties and paint and sip events to regional travel and adventures in exciting locations, nearly all of OADSP's Beat the Winter Blues occasions are meant for anyone, DSPs and the individuals they support, family members, other staff, and so on. And anyone who's attended an event will tell you that, for at least a little bit, we did, in fact, beat the winter blues. Check the calendar for scheduled Beat the Winter Blues events at oadsp.org. And now back to the show.
Tell us about where you work and what happens here.
Yeah, so we care arts. The mission here is simple, right? It's empower healing through art and community. When I was growing up, I used to ride my bike to the Osterfeld's art studio. I took art classes all the way through grade school. I loved it. And I even took, as my electives in high school, you had to take your cultural arts credits. You could sing, you could play an instrument, you could take an art class, and I can't carry a tune. I wish I could play piano or guitar, so hindsight, maybe I should have gone the musical route. I to this day, I still think, gosh, it'd be really cool to be able to play a musical instrument. But I took art classes. I used all my elective art credits on art classes, Mrs. Nowak, Mrs. Andrews at school, and I loved it. And it was one of those things, I remember telling my dad, hey, I really think this is, the Mac had just come out, and like Oregon Trail was high graphics. Right. And I remember saying, I'd be really cool if there was a career where I could do art, Dad, and also like something with like computer graphics. And my dad looked at me and said, there's no future in that. So I ended up just going to college and studying marketing. So anyways, I feel like being back here is like a reconnection to my youth. Like it's all the creative things. Like my kids would always come up to me, Dad, draw SpongeBob.
Sure.
Dad, draw this, draw that. So I would always draw stuff for them. But here, there's just, it's always around you. And I have had the opportunity to pop in and work with an artist client for a period here or there, or just admire what they're doing, their creative energy, and just being in this environment is just, like I said, I feel like it pulls me back. I get to raise a lot of awareness.
Okay.
I get to raise a lot of money for an organization that I'm extremely passionate about, and serving a population that, if not for people like us, wouldn't be able to take care of themselves. So that there's that aspect. But it's art, but it's also working with individuals diagnosed with developmental disabilities, substance use disorders, mental health diagnosis. We do a lot of work. So we have 3 big programs. We have Artworks, which serves people in the building, 200 individuals throughout the day in 3-hour class periods, Monday through Friday, like 9 to noon and 1 to 4. Outreach, we do work in nursing homes, senior centers. We do work with the Cancer Infusion Center, also other nonprofits, Daybreak, Miracle Clubhouse. So we do art classes at those on-site locations.
Sure.
Transition to Work is probably, it might be my favorite program because it's art in those schools.
Okay.
It's grown in just the last year. We've grown from like 13 to 21 schools.
Wow.
We packed, funny story about packing these art kits, but we packed these 10-week art kits for the special needs classrooms at these 20 schools in 5 counties around the greater Maya Valley area. And we're looking to expand that program even all over Ohio in 2025. So stay tuned. But we got to the point where we had to pack so many kits. We're like, oh my goodness, volunteers. This was taking us like a week of packing up. You're talking 5,000 projects, right? Sure. So we reached out to the community engagement person at Fuyao, and her name's Lacey, and Lay's, oh my gosh, absolutely. Like we'd love to do this as a project. Can you bring all the stuff down here? So we packed all the boxes of when I say boxes and boxes of the individually wrapped stuff for these kits.
Okay.
And we set it all on this table, this 20-foot table. Volunteers walked in from Fuyao, lined up on either side of the table. They said, do you have an idea how you want to do this? I said, mate, you're the manufacturing facility. Like, what does an assembly line look like? So they looked at this. They kind of problem solved it for about 3 minutes. And in 52 minutes, they packed 5,000 art projects.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. And we took pictures, and we're like, this is great. They're like, hey, do you do this again? We're like, yeah, we do a spring 10-week kit. And they're like, come back in January, we'll do it again. So I'm like, it was great. So that's transitional work. And then we also have employment services, because we have a retail store. And
yes,
in our retail store, we're able to work with individuals that might want to work in the community in a retail setting. And we can go through like job training, job development, resume building, interview skills, all those kind of things. Also, the day-to-day running a cash register, meeting, greeting customers, all those kind of things. So that's employment services. We Care Arts does things. They do things for really, they do things that I just am really passionate about, and happy to be a part of the grant writing process, the event management process, and the donor relations process for We Care Arts.
How many, you said you have about 200 people a week that are here in this building?
Yeah, in Artworks. Overall, last year we served like 1,350 people across 6 counties.
That's
all
a lot
over,
of people.
all over the greater Maya Valley. We're going to exceed 1,500 in 2024, and it could grow exponentially in 2025.
Are you going to have enough space?
The good news is Artworks is here. We could still conceivably have 400 people in this building a week. So we could still double what we're doing here.
Okay.
As long as we have community partners that'll help us with the outreach stuff, we'll be okay. We might have to put a semi-truck in the back parking lot for the pickup of the art kits, but we'll make it work.
That's okay.
Goodwill will let us borrow their trucks every now and then, which is nice. It truly is nice.
But it advertises for them.
Yeah, they're happy. We drive around town with all the stuff we need for the different events.
So the folks that work in your retail environment, do they graduate to having community jobs?
Correct. So like somebody would come to us with the goal of gainful employment, and they would go through the program. I think you'll talk to Jen, I think at some point today. It's a program that they go through, and then obviously the last phase is graduation and then employment. I think there was a young lady working in employment services that had the hopes of working in a local library as a person that would check out the books and help with stocking and all that kind of stuff.
And all of that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us something fun.
I mentioned I do get to take classes here. I get to. Part of your orientation is that you take a class, like you go and be a student in a class.
So instead of orientation, it's orientation.
Oh, it's orientation. You're in it. Yeah, you are in it. And so we did this mindfulness exercise where you shut your eyes and you drew on a sheet of paper, and and then after you're done drawing all these lines, you then open your eyes and then you use different colored pencils to shade in all the different boxes, and you do it however you want. And so I finished. I was like self-proud. I put it on my own bulletin board in my office. Sure. And our Claudia, who runs outreach, was doing a tour, and she was meeting with Katie, who was our executive director. And they were in her office, and then they were talking about doing something in this outreach project. And Katie was like, "Oh, I think you're talking about that mindfulness project. I think Rick was in that class." And so they came out and were looking at the piece of art that I did. And Claudia looked at my art, and she was like, and mind you, Claudia is a really talented artist.
Okay.
And she looked at it and she was like, "No, nothing like that." And I said, man, I went from being really proud of the work that I created. So now my humorous thing is I started in October. I did that in orientation. And I said to myself, I'm going to make the time once a quarter to just jump into a class and do some art, even if whether it's by myself or whether it's with one of our artist clients. And it expanded because every now and then, if somebody's sick, Anna will ask, if she's our curriculum manager, "Hey, can somebody sub?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll sub." And then I get to do the art, and I'm subbing and helping out. So it actually has expanded to where I've probably done like 12 different projects in the last 12 months.
Nice.
And I have some probably displayed in my office. I'm happy to show you. But every time I do an art project now, when it's finished, I always take it to Claudia and I ask for her to grade it. and I was so proud. I think I ran around the building and showed everybody when she graded one of my recent projects as an A.
Oh, good.
So yeah, I'm progressing my skills. Maybe it's like riding a bike, right? My skills are coming back. Those skills that I had from age 9 to 18 are now returning to me.
It's probably good to have an art critic nearby.
It is, yeah.
That you can bounce these ideas off of and artwork off of. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being here and talking to us. I appreciate the tour you gave me, and I got to see a lot of great art today, and it's exciting. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Bye now.
Thanks for listening, and join us next time on The Direct Line.